Hi, and welcome to day 3 of the Mind, Body, Calm Mindset Makeover. Now, I'm going to start with a word of caution here, a warning about mindfulness. So here's the thing. You're sitting there with your eyes closed, your mind's recalling all of the instructions and all of the things you've read about mindfulness, but you can't launch. So that's what today's about. Getting the basic background things right. Sometimes we make space, make time, schedule a time to sit in mindfulness, and when we actually do sit in the stillness to go into mindfulness, it's just not happening. Frustration bubbles up. That compulsion to endlessly plan and pre-schedule and think ahead keeps bubbling to the front. And no matter how much you try and wave it away, it's just not happening. And what happens in and of itself, the whole idea of striving overtakes the idea of mindfulness. So what happens is you might think you are failing, and it can rock you. People can go, I tried mindfulness, didn't work for me, as though there's an option, or as though it's something that works for some people and doesn't work for others, which just isn't true. You might think you've lost your way. You might think you have to do more, or you've missed something, or that something just isn't quite right in the background. So each time you come to stillness, and this is where this image comes in, there's a tidal wave of thoughts. Okay? Or it might be a bubbling up of thoughts. And these might leave you with a sense of failure. So what I want to say is, when you think of tidal wave, I bet that image doesn't come to mind, does it? Doesn't for me either. I deliberately chose that image as a way to confront you out of this state. Okay? It doesn't mean, just because this image of a tidal wave is different or unexpected, that does not mean it has failed as a tidal wave, does it? It just means it's not meeting expectations at the moment, and our expectations are built on our previous experiences, our conditioning, our family background, your education level, things like that. So for everyone, an idea of a tidal wave is totally different, but it does not mean it's failed, because it's a quantitative thing, isn't it? It's just we're measuring a quality more than an actual specific thing. So when did the unexpected, or when did different become wrong? Okay? When did that happen? We apply labels like good and bad to things, when most times they are merely what they are. Like, that is an image of a tidal wave, and it's not a good tidal wave or a bad tidal wave, it is just a tidal wave. So do you notice how we judge and compare things to try and find and give them the best label we can find? Even notice right here how I said the word best, which in itself is another judgment. So that's what comes up on day 3 of mindfulness. The idea where our judgments and our comparisons are so ingrained, they're so fundamentally a part of being human, that we sense failure because it's like we're not making any progress. Everywhere we look, everywhere we go, judgment, comparison, and we're categorizing things and putting them in boxes and things like that. So we do feel it. So here we are now on day 3, and I like this analogy. We've been walking up to the edge. We've even peered inside. And now there is nothing but going ahead and actually doing. But it is much more safe to sit here a while and compare and judge, and even say it's not worth it, or it's not for me, or just sit on the sidelines and put our time and our money in some other activity. But I expected that, okay? That's the first stage of the journey, is measuring if it's, when we actually judge and compare whether we should continue. So what mindfulness requires, in fact demands of you, is that you do not do that. You just keep going regardless. Okay, I learned that with my yoga practice. Just by turning up on the mat, time and time again without judgment, just getting into the routine of turning up, that helped me break through to the next level. So I'll just move down here to the next slide, the footprint slide. Success starts with the first step. Like we touched on yesterday, you have to be, the advice is to be curious about your discomfort. Be curious about why you think you're failing. Be curious about why you have that, you've applied that value to mindfulness. When you're actually you've only done mindfulness for 3 days, admittedly, so to judge it as a failure or a success at this point is really inappropriate, actually. So it's actually not up for judgment yet. That's another sort of strategy to use, is to just say, I'm reserving judgment until I have had enough of this experience to make a fully informed judgment, which could be in 6 months, couldn't it? Or 6 years. So, being curious about your discomfort. This is mindfulness, and where it touches on things like chronic pain and illness, where you're encouraging people who are suffering to actually go into their pain and see the pain not as something to fear or reject or push away, but instead see the pain as something to explore with a sense of curiosity, as though it is over there and you're just walking over to pain and you're having a look around the edges, and then you're coming back from pain, and then you go back towards pain, and then you come back from it. So to be able to have that relationship with pain is really profound, and that's where mindfulness can start giving you that option. Because let's substitute, instead of pain, let's use something like, for example, hunger. Because hunger is a sort of a version of warmth, and it could be called a type of pain. So when you have a mild sensation of hunger, can you approach that with a sense of playful curiosity? Can you approach that as something not to be feared or rejected or pushed away? Can you approach that with a sense of curiosity and just walk up to your hunger and go, so this is what hunger feels like, and actually be in hunger, and then step back from hunger and go, okay, I know I'm hungry, but I can also be walking, or I can also do push-ups, or I can also write a story. Like, you can do other things as well as be hungry. It's not all encompassing. So if you haven't approached sensations like that in your body, that can be really illuminating, to have that mind-body, just to toy with the mind-body relationship. So what we're going to do now is explore that at a simple pace, and we're going to actually, based on the hunger idea, is lingering in the experience, and the object, well, I'm not sure if you have any available right now, but the object we're going to start with is chocolate. And chocolate mindfulness is a common meme across many sort of teaching platforms. So it's really successful, and it's tried and tested, and it's worth dipping into. If you haven't tried it before, or if you're new to mindfulness, let's do it. It's fantastic. So if you have some chocolate available, perhaps you'll come back to this. We'll just go through it now. We're going to buy some chocolate that you would not normally eat. This is critical. So if you normally eat milk chocolate peppermint, so something you would not normally eat is dark chocolate caramel, maybe, or just dark chocolate, or Turkish delight chocolate, or white chocolate. Okay? Or even simplify it down, different brands, different combinations, different packaging styles. So something different, so there will be that novelty. So one you would not normally buy, and I've actually, down here on my notes, I've got rum and raisin, but I think we'll give rum and raisin a miss. I don't know how old that concept is. So what we're doing, as you interact with the chocolate, I want you to see it as something entirely foreign and curious. So we're not seeing it as just another piece of chocolate. This is that's why it's different, isn't it? This is the first time you've encountered this dark chocolate. It's a strange object. And note how you'll be eating this chocolate with your full 5 senses, as well as your undivided attention. And also note how different this is to normal eating, when you're perhaps distracted or eating in front of a TV or driving the car or when you're in a conversation. This time we're eating mindfully, which means with full, undivided attention. So we'll start with opening the wrapping, and we'll inhale the aroma, the coffee smells, the darkness, the sweetness, the specialness of having a treat, the sound of unwrapping the paper and what connections that draws with you through your childhood of opening lolly wrappers. Feel the crispness of the wrapper and place it gently alongside you on the table. Notice how the light plays on the foil and the crumpled, creased look of the wrapper. Now we're holding the chocolate. Pick up the chocolate and hold it in your hand. Feel the weight of it in your hand. Feel the denseness of the block. And now break it in half, break it into pieces. Does it break in chunks or does it bend and crack open like that? Place the chocolate in your hand so you can feel it on your palm. And just leave it there for a while. Maybe exhale on it, breathe on it, and feel it soften almost immediately as it melts from the heat of your hand. It feels wet and slippery. Notice the shape it makes now that it's broken. Is it really broken or has it just shifted shape? Examine every crease and chip and fragile little fragment. They're all pieces of chocolate, aren't they? Now gently lift a piece and pop it into your mouth. Feel it sink onto your tongue as it melts a little more. Close your mouth and inhale through your nose. And feel the chocolate, the sensation of it on your tongue and in your mouth as it changes form. And now, with swallowing, observe as the chocolate slips down your throat and you feel that silky softness, the sensation. Give yourself time and grace, the 2 words, 2 magnificent words, time and grace. Time to experience this as well as the grace to truly feel it. You're not a robot or a big piece of machinery thumping things into your body and chucking them down. You're a delicate, beautiful, graceful person, human being. This exercise is about taking the time to explore your senses. I'll give you a few moments to reflect on this and bring you back with the sound of the bell. Best thing for chocolate is some water. Clear your breath. Now we'll go into a 2-minute mindful breathing, the mind, body, calm breathing technique. And there's 3 steps to this. Becoming aware with your posture, your presence and your positioning. Then we're going to focus our attention. And then we're coming back out with an expanded awareness. Okay, so step 1, becoming aware. Again, we're going back to that sense of ease, that gentle grace. Bring your whole body to a stance of disciplined alertness, but not trying too hard. But you are erect and dignified, as though you are offering a composed and whole view of yourself. Now I want you to present yourself as attentive, as open, interested. You'll find yourself rising in your chair, your shoulders lifting and shifting backwards, your chin slightly tucked, your heels underneath your knees, your belly held in slightly. Maybe your hands are folded across your lap. It's a sensation of dignified repose, at rest, but with a certain air of gracious and composed calm, like you are sitting for a portrait or waiting to meet royalty. Because you are waiting to meet royalty, that is. Now gently, with that same sense of grace, bring your awareness to your inner experience and simply acknowledge it. Ask yourself, what is my experience right now? What thoughts are going through your mind? Notice each thought as merely a mental event, nothing more. What feelings do you notice? Can you sense discomfort? Can you sense awkwardness anywhere in your body? If you can, go towards it. Go towards the discomfort like you are welcoming a stranger into a room filled with your best friends. Go to your discomfort. Breathe into it and feel it warm and become vibrant and soften. Mind, body, calm. And begin with the mind. What thoughts are going through your mind? As you notice a thought, acknowledge it and then let it go. It is simply a thought, a mental event. This thought isn't you, or it does not define your life experience right now. It is just a thought. So you can safely let it go and move on to the next thought. Or you might even pause and delight in the space between your thoughts. We call it the gap. See if you can linger in the gap, in this in-between space. Now we'll move into the body. Going through mind, body, calm. What feelings are in your body? Is there any sense of discomfort or unpleasantness? Or is there a sense of glowing, a sense of joy welling up inside of you? What sensations can you feel as you scan over your body from the top of your head to the base of the tips of your toes? Is there an area of tightness? Are you slouching? An area of weakness? Do you feel hard or soft in certain areas? Now, with the calm. Now breathing and narrowing your attention to the small physical space of your breath. Bringing your focus from your belly upwards to your chest and shoulders. And then visualizing a triangle from your belly button to your shoulder tips and across your collarbones. Each breath is a lifting motion and then a soft, slow, deflating motion in a bigger cycle of oneness. For 3 cycles, we are staying with our focus inward on that triangle as it moves outward and opens and then deflates and lowers. In and out. In and outwards. Now we are moving outwards from the space of the triangle and into our body as a whole. Outwards to our fingertips, outwards to our toes, outwards to the tops of our head. Feel the energy moving outwards from the center. It's as though the whole body is breathing, like we are a balloon or a pulsing space of light, pulsing bigger and opening with the in-breath, and then drawing inward and deflating with the exhale. Your balloon breath moves to areas of suffering, areas of pain, areas of tightness, of stiffness in your body. And as you balloon out and deflate inwards, you loosen these parts of your body. Your lower back lifts and uncoils, like the bones in your back are a spring, and your spine is getting lighter and lighter. Your muscles in your legs bulge with the in-breath, and as you exhale, the muscles release and flush out all that old energy and tiredness. You're feeling sensations more clearly, crisp almost, like you have invisible fingers that are massaging and probing into your knots and opening you up. And each time your mind wanders, we come back to the in and out of the breath. Then we go into our bodies for a moment, and then back to our breath. Our thoughts come and go. They are not true. Our thoughts are not who we are. They are merely mental structures, and we can let them go with attention to the breath until the bell sounds. I'm going to leave it there for day 3, and I invite you to join me for day 4 tomorrow. Thank you.